of Works and Utilities in Bahamas, Honorable Marvin Gonzalez, Minister of Public Utilities, Trinidad and Tobago. Other visiting ministers, some are still en route. Members of the Diplomatic Corps, I do recognize Her Excellency, the High Commissioner of England. I also recognize the Ambassador of Mexico. Fortunately for me, one of my alma maters is in Mexico, so I really consider Mexico a second home. I recognize some of the members of my board. I recognize the members of the Joint Services. I do recognize Naval Captain Vernon Burnett, and I must admit that the support we've gotten from the Guyana Defense Force has been tremendous. Representatives of the Caribbean Development Bank, of the Inter-American Development Bank, of the UNDP, UNEP, Jeff Crew, and all other UN agencies and programs. Partners in the water sector, I will spare a moment to recognize my very good friend, Dr. Paulette Bino, who happens to be the chair of the Global Water Partnership Caribbean. Representatives of the Caribbean Water and Sewerage Association. I do see in our midst Permanent Secretary Bishram Kupen from the Ministry of Housing and Water. Very newly minted Permanent Secretary is somewhere around, Mr. Miguel Chukang of the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. I do recognize the Chairman of the GWWA Board, Mr. Ramesh Duku, and our CEO, Mr. Bash, and the other board members here also, Dr. Sixtus Edwards, and so on. There are several heads of visiting utilities, members of the media, special invitees. Good evening once again. That has been quite a mouthful. But as we are a family, I think it's important that we go through the process of ensuring that we're all recognized. The Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association is the family. I welcome you to this premier water, wastewater, and solid waste conference in the Caribbean region. Ministers with responsibility for water, wastewater, and solid waste, heads of delegations for countries, permanent secretaries, heads of utilities, water resources managers, operations managers, desalination operators, engineers, manufacturers, products and service providers, academia, persons from across the public and private sector, all people of the Caribbean. We are all here to participate in Guyana in the 32nd annual CWWA conference and exhibition. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to my home, Guyana. Those who know will know that it is the home of the Amazon warriors. As we say, if you know, you know. I must give thanks to Minister Crowell, who I put on the spot a few years ago, and who I'm very happy has not repaid that, but he hasn't punished me yet. But he graciously accepted, without knowing what he was getting into, he accepted to host this conference. And I must say we could not have done it without the support of the Ministry of Housing and Water. I do not know what he did to persuade Cabinet to sign on, but sorry, thank you very much. The Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association was founded in 1991, and it has grown into a driving force in the Caribbean water, wastewater, and very recently the solid waste sectors. In 1991, the first conference started off with just a handful of engineers from around the region. Today, we will see over 500 persons walk through the conference doors in a variety of capacities. Since 1991, whether a hurricane was passing or a global pandemic was raging, our conference has never paused. We have never postponed. What we've done is we've pivoted. We've either gone to another territory or we've gone to a virtual platform. And COVID has taught us that very well. The conference started off with mainly English-speaking Caribbean islands, and now proudly, we now include the English-speaking Caribbean countries. And I will repeat, English-speaking Caribbean countries on the South American mainland and Central America. And our constitution has recently been changed to ensure that we recognize and accept into our fold the French, Dutch, and Spanish Caribbean. At this conference, it will be the 19th time that ministers with responsibility for water will meet, while it will be the 7th time that ministers with responsibility for waste will meet, having first met right here in 2017 in Georgetown. The CWWA Research and Education Foundation is our education and training arm, catering to capacity building in the region. We have had numerous training sessions in topics from groundwater loss to risk management. Internationally, we have formalized our relationship with the International Water Association, the American Water Works Association, and the Asociación Interamericana de Ingeniería Sanitaria y Ambiental, IDIS for a Spanish acronym. That basically means Inter-American Association of Sanitary and Environmental Engineers. So again, we've embraced Latin America. Additionally, we are working on building a relationship with the Pacific Water and Wastewater Association, who share similarities with us here in the region. As we call it, states, small island development states. While regionally, our sister partners in the region are Global Water Partnership Caribbean and Caribbean Water and Sewage Association, or CWWA. Regionally, we are engaged with the Caribbean Institute of Meteorology and Hydrology, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, the Caribbean Tourism Authority, and the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association. The Caribbean is a very diverse region with significant economic potential and growth opportunities. Gross national income per capita varies from $800 to over $30,000. And most countries rely primarily on tourism, agriculture, and manufacturing, which are all significant water users. In fact, with its stunning scenery and vibrant cultures, the Caribbean is one of the world's top tourist destinations. Several Caribbean countries experience high levels of water scarcity and water stress. This poses an enormous developmental challenge for the region, given growing demand, inadequate infrastructure, and sometimes low investment in the water sector. What are the implications of water management for the Caribbean economy, and in what ways could it create opportunities for development? The CWWA is answering that question through our conferences every year and supporting innovation in the sector that affect growth in national planning across the region. We will accelerate change in water, wastewater, and solid waste sectors. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. CWWA President, Lieutenant Colonel Daniels, and we want to wish you the very best in your studies. He's currently a doctoral candidate of urban hydraulics at the Mexican Institute of Water Technology. So let's give him a round of applause and wish him well as he elevates his technical and academic skills. This is the opening ceremony for the conference and exhibition. This is the formal component. The exhibition will open with the cutting of the ribbon, and we are so grateful that our Caribbean counterparts are with us. We know some of you were affected by the tropical storm Tammy, and so we are happy that you are with us. You're safe, and the resilience of our people when we experience difficult times, it's evident, and so we are grateful that you're with us this evening. And now we will invite forward Ms. Roshni Budu, one of our very talented, dynamic Indian dancers in our cultural scene. As she comes forward, Roshni is going to raise the curtain for what's to come tomorrow evening when we have the cultural night to showcase our Guyana's vibrant culture through music and food and so much more. But first, let's enjoy Roshni Budu with this Indian dance. At this time, we will now have presentations from the chairman of the GWI board. Firstly, Mr. Ramesh Duku, and he will be followed by remarks by the Honorable Minister Suzanne Rodriguez, Minister in the Ministry of Housing and Water. So first up, the chairman for the GWI board, Mr. Duku.
Good evening, all. As you can see, I'm a bit fitter than your president. I stepped right up on the stage. he used the stairs. But I want to use the acknowledgement of the president of CWWA because he did a fantastic job. So all protocols as per the president being observed here this evening, I would also like to welcome all of you here. We're proud to have you here in our country, beautiful Guyana. Make sure you check out our flora and fauna. Go on a few trips into the interior. If you're short of a tour guide, Jane Miller, right here from the OES ambassador, is now an expert in everything Guyana has to offer. Seek advice, seek out the tourist guides and the people who provide those services to visitors. And I'm sure you'll have a wonderful stay right here in Guyana. And we are the land of chicken curry. So Mr. Minister from Trinidad, feel free, sir. So you know who I am. My name is Ramesh Duku. I'm the chairman of the board of directors of GWI for a while now. This is my second stint. I'd like to start by thanking the government of Guyana through the Ministry of Housing and Water, Ministers Colin Crowell, who will address you, and Minister Susan Rodriguez, who mind the coffers of the government of Guyana to finance GWI, which has been set up as a company under the Companies Act of Guyana. And we do thank them for, as Marlon did, for supporting this conference. In your team, accelerating change in the water and wastewater and solid waste sectors, I stand before you, and you can tell I'm reading now, right? I stand before you to address the crucial issue of investments in the potable water sector, a matter that is of paramount importance to the well-being and sustainability of all of our communities, not only here in Guyana, but all over the world, in our environment and our future. Access to clean and safe drinking water is a fundamental human right. Yet millions of people around the world still lack access to this basic necessity. This problem necessitates immediate and substantial investments in the potable water sector. First and foremost, investments in the potable water sector are investments in public health. Contaminated or insufficient water supply is leading to causes of diseases, particularly in developing nations like ours. Diarrheal diseases, for example, are responsible for countless deaths every year due to inadequate access to clean water. By investing in this sector, we can significantly reduce the prevalence of such diseases. We can save lives and improve the quality of life for millions, if not billions, of people across the world. Furthermore, investing in clean and safe drinking water has far-reaching environmental benefits. As we all are increasingly aware, our natural resources are finite, something that a few annoying people here in Guyana remind us every day of, having discovered oil in our country. And the provision of safe drinking water requires the responsible management of these resources. Sustainable water management practices such as watershed protection and water purification technologies can be achieved through the allocation of financial resources. We all need money to reach the levels of water quality and water distribution, and I'm sure you do have the same challenges in your country. Potable water investments also hold economic benefits. By ensuring a reliable and safe water supply, we create an environment conducive to the economic growth and development of industries, agriculture, and tourism. All depend on the availability of clean water. Adequate water infrastructure supports economic stability, encourages job creation, and contributes to increased prosperity in communities. Moreover, as we face the growing threats of climate change, investments in the potable water sector are essential for building resilience. Changes in weather patterns and increasing temperatures can exacerbate water scarcity and contamination issues. Adequate investments can help communities adapt to these challenges by upgrading infrastructure, implementing efficient water use technologies, and safeguarding against extreme weather events. It is worth noting that the importance of access to clean water is not limited to developing nations. Even in developed countries, aging infrastructure and pollution issues persist. Thus, investments in water infrastructure renewal and modernization are critical to ensure that we continue to enjoy clean and safe drinking water. I am proud to be at the helm of GWI at this time when the government of Guyana is investing so heavily in the sector. Coming from the private sector, I must remind you, and I just said it, GWI is a registered company under the Companies Act. And it would appear as though we are the only such water utility in the Caribbean. We depend heavily for the provision of equity in the company by government expenditure. We are proud to be the first such water utility in Guyana to be created, and we are willing to share our story so that others can learn and move in this direction also. The proportion of Guyana's population with access to safe water supply service increased from 96 to 97% between 2019 and 2022. Notwithstanding the increase in access to potable water supply, the change in treated water coverage was 61% in 2019, and that went downwards to 52% currently. This was precipitated by the housing and home ownership drive that is currently taking place in Guyana. The government has a mission to provide 50,000 house lots before the next elections, I believe. And this has driven the story of GWI over the last number of years. This has resulted in a population shift into urban areas, the housing boom that is taking place in Guyana, and it has stretched the capacity of the current 28 treatment plants and facilities beyond their limits. In response, GWI has commenced the implementation of a massive $200 million US coastal treated water program. The program aims to bridge the treated water gap by increasing treated water coverage from 52% to 90% over the period 2022 to 2025. You can guess when is elections, right? These investments will provide improved water quality and service levels to 260,000 persons, or 65,000 households, which represents 34% of the coastal population of Guyana. This target of 34% of the population by 2025 will be achieved through the following. 1, the construction of 13 new treatment plants with production capacities of between 2 to 14 megaliters per day in regions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Secondly, the upgrading of 12 existing treatment plants in region 3, 4, 5, and 6. And thirdly, the expansion of an upgrade of transmission and distribution systems within 25 water systems connected to these treatment plants. And lastly, 15 small water treatment plants using inline systems. On the other hand, the proportion of hinterland population with access to safe water supply increased significantly from 33.8% in 2019 to 75% at the end of 2022. Excuse me. This is largely due to more than 30,000 persons receiving access to potable water supply for the first time in the hinterland. Minister Rodriguez and Minister Kroll actually goes to work in the hinterland with our executive staff of GWI to personally ensure these hinterland projects are executed. GWI continues to work to close this gap in access to potable water supply by 2025. To achieve the reduction in the gap in access between the coastline and hinterland communities, we procured 3 new drill rigs between 2020 and 2022. This has aided to intensify the hinterland drilling program and ensure increased access to safe and reliable water supply in over 200 hinterland and riverine communities. Potable water received by hinterland communities is sourced from 173 wells and 29 springs and over 20 rivers and creeks. In this regard, we have implemented a strict water quality monitoring regime to ensure that the water quality is safe. In the next 2 years, government has committed to drill more than 50 new hinterland wells, along with the installation of an appropriate number of photovoltaic systems to ensure increased access of 100% by 2025 and reduce the climate vulnerability of hinterland communities. Notably, while the coastline benefits from increased access to potable water supply, work still continues to be done in the hinterland, and GWI is committed to implementing its hinterland water supply program to achieve universal access by 2025. In concluding, investments in the potable water supply and the water sector are an investment in humanity's health, the environment, and economic prosperity as well. By addressing the challenges associated with clean and safe drinking water, we can make a significant difference in the lives of millions, help protect our environment, and strengthen our communities. It is our moral and ethical responsibility to ensure that every person on this planet has access to clean and safe drinking water. I therefore implore governments, businesses, individuals also to recognize the urgency of this issue and make the necessary investments to secure a better future for all of humanity. I thank you all, and I wish the CWWA a very successful 32nd Annual Conference and Exhibition. God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramesh Duku, Chairman of the GWI Board. And it was Mr. Duku who started back that debate about chicken curry and curry chicken. What about roti versus bus-up shot? Egg ball versus doubles? What will we debate next? Shadow Benny or married man poke? You know what that is, right? That flavorful basil that has that distinctive taste in black pudding. We hope that you get to enjoy some of our delicacies while you're here. We'll be definitely serving some of that up at our cultural night tomorrow. After all, we are one diverse, beautiful Caribbean family. Let's give ourselves a round of applause as we now invite Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, the Honorable Suzanne Rodriguez, for her remarks.
Thank you, Michelle. I too would like to take cover of the very long list of distinguished people who are here this evening, as elaborated by the very able and competent president of the CWWA. But please permit me to acknowledge just a few other special people. Prime Minister, Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, colleague Minister in the Housing and Water sector, the Honorable Colin Crowell, other cabinet colleagues from Guyana and the Caribbean, members of the Diplomatic Corps, President of CWWA and other members of the association, Chairman of GWI Board, other stakeholders and multinational partners in the water, wastewater, and solid water sectors, development partners, distinguished guests and invitees. And in keeping with the many cricket analogies that we've had for this evening, I welcome you to Warrior Nation. I am honored to speak to you this evening at the opening ceremony of the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association Conference and Exhibition. Over the next few days, many critical issues, including some existential ones, such as the accelerating climate crisis, will be discussed, and hopefully solutions and commitments are arrived at. In Guyana, the housing and water sectors are captured under one ministry, since these areas are interconnected and form the foundation for a sustainable future for our people. Housing transcends the realm of a fundamental human requirement, and it embodies an absolute right of access to clean and reliable water sources. The cornerstone of good health, education, and an enhanced quality of life, adequate housing holds the promise of a brighter future. As stewards of our nation, we are firmly committed to ensuring that every citizen enjoys unrestricted access to secure, affordable, and dignified housing. Similarly, the water sector is equally important for our well-being and economic growth. Access to clean and safe drinking water is a fundamental human right and a necessity for public health. Moreover, the efficient management of water resources is vital for agriculture, industry, and overall environmental sustainability. The government of Guyana is committed to investing in water infrastructure, promoting water conservation, and ensuring that every citizen has access to clean and safe water. However, as we embark on these developmental journeys, we cannot ignore the pressing issue of the climate crisis. Our planet is undergoing significant changes, resulting in extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and threats to our ecosystems. We must recognize that the housing and water sector play a significant role in mitigating climate change. We must build homes and water infrastructure that are energy efficient and environmentally sustainable. We must adapt to the changing climate and reduce our carbon footprint. Furthermore, one of the most pressing challenges in the water sector is non-revenue water. This not only results in economic losses, but also exacerbates the impact of the climate crisis as it leads to increased energy consumption for water treatment and distribution. To combat non-revenue water, we are committed to investing in modern water infrastructure and employing advanced technology to monitor and reduce water losses. To address the challenges and objectives in the water sector, the government of Guyana has embarked on an ambitious capital program to invest in water infrastructure, including storage, distribution, and treatment facilities. The chairman of the GWI board has relieved me of my responsibility of listing those interventions, such as the increase in treated water coverage from 52% to 90% by 2025, including the construction of new water treatment plants, the rehabilitation of existing treatment facilities, and the upgrading of our infrastructure. The government also intends to continue to upgrade the infrastructure in the city of Georgetown by replacing aged transmission and distribution lines to ensure that service delivery levels are improved. At the policy level, we have drafted a number of strategies that will guide a framework governing efficient water management and conservation. Notably, Guyana's National Development Strategy, the Low Carbon Development Strategy, LCDS 2030, which was developed in 2022, aims to transform the economy on a low-carbon, sustainable development trajectory, while simultaneously combating climate change. In keeping with the LCDS, integrated water resource management is recognized as a national priority and addresses issues such as water rights and allocation, water supply and sanitation, water governance, and wastewater management as part of that strategy. This plan also aims to contribute to the reduction of poverty, unemployment, and inequality, as well as the realization of Agenda 2030 by promoting sustainable consumption and production. In March of this year, Guyana completed a draft national water sector policy, which, when approved and implemented, will provide a comprehensive outlook on water governance and water resource sustainability. The policy also focuses on areas such as climate change and gender equality. One of the desired outcomes of this policy will be to activate a National Water Council. This institutional mechanism will provide a practical model of how the various sectors with responsibility for water use and control can work harmoniously to protect, develop, sustain, and manage all water resources, especially considering the threats of climate change. The policy framework also consists of a groundwater management plan for the coastal aquifers, which, when implemented, is expected to guarantee a reliable and affordable supply of potable water from groundwater sources. We also consider the promotion of public awareness regarding the responsible use of water resources to be a high priority. When effectively harnessed, public awareness becomes a driving force, propelling policy support, securing funding, ensuring accountability, and inspiring behavioral change, all of which contribute to fortifying and bolstering the water sector. Through our ongoing educational and outreach campaigns, we are actively enlightening children and citizens about the significance of water conservation, prudent utilization, and the environmental ramifications of water wastage. Equally important are platforms such as the CWWA, which fosters collaboration with regional partners, industry leaders, and practitioners in the water sector to exchange ideas and promote sustainable water use practices. As part of a global community, we are required to make the well-being of our citizens, the sustainability of our environment, and the prosperity of our future generations our utmost priority. Achieving these goals may remain elusive without the necessary political will and allocation of resources to address these critical issues. Therefore, our collective commitment to fostering strong governance, mobilizing resources, and influencing effective policies is essential in ensuring a brighter, more sustainable future for all. Let us work collectively, especially over the next few days, to achieve these goals and leave a legacy of progress for generations to come. I thank you, and I wish you all a very successful conference and an enjoyable stay in Guyana to our visitors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Susan Rodriguez. And I don't know if time will permit our visitors to see the versatility of our honorable minister. And just in case you don't get a chance, I'll briefly tell you a little bit about Minister's versatility. Over the weekend, she stepped out of her comfort zone and she strutted the catwalk to raise funds in the fight for breast cancer. So let's hear it for our very versatile, not only she's a legislator and a policy maker, but she was also able to join us in our efforts to fight breast cancer and other forms of cancer. It's Pinktober in Guyana, where we raise awareness of breast cancer and fighting other cancers. And like water, our health is so important, and so even at this forum, we want to encourage early detection and, frequent checkups. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've been hearing all about our hospitality, our food, our warrior nation. I now want to invite Mr. Roy Stewart to come forward, and he will be performing for us on the saxophone an a cappella version of Oh Beautiful Guyana, made popular by Valerie Rodway. So please welcome Mr. Stewart on the saxophone as we enjoy Oh Beautiful Guyana. Brilliant performance there of Oh Beautiful Guyana by Mr. Stewart. On we go. This is the opening ceremony for the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association, being hosted here for the second time under the auspices of the Government of Guyana, the Ministry of Housing and Water, and of course the Guyana Water Incorporated. And we know the world is looking at us through a different lens for so many reasons, and come towards the end of the month, we are going to host persons from Africa and Europe coming here for another investment forum. Just last week, we had our Caribbean counterparts here in Guyana, and so we're always delighted to have you with us as we have these important conversations and plan not just for Guyana, but for our region. And so to deliver remarks now for the opening ceremony, I now invite Minister of Housing and Water, Mr. Colin Crowell, for his remarks.
Thank you very much, our chairperson for today, Ms. Michelle. Honorable Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, Prime Minister of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, colleague ministers of Guyana, recognizing Susan Rodriguez, Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Dr. Frank Anthony, Minister of Health, and I heard the name Robeson Ben, oh, I see him now, Minister Robeson Ben, Minister of Home Affairs, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Housing and Water, Mr. Kupin, members of the Diplomatic Corps, counterpart ministers from across the Caribbean here at the opening, and others, or some others, are on the way. President of the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association, Lieutenant Colonel Marlon Daniels. He's short, but you know, he can pack a punch. Chairman of the Board of Directors for Guyana Water, Inc., Mr. Ramesh Duku, and other members of the GWI board I recognize here. CEO of GWI, Mr. Sheikh Bash, and other senior representatives of GWI. Delegates, special invitees, members of the media, good evening all. It is an honor to welcome you here to this, the land of many waters. Ironically, of course, we're going through an El Nino effect, and no doubt through our breakout sessions, we will speak more about this. But to this, our beautiful country called Guyana, for this, the 32nd Annual Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association Conference and Exhibition. As Marlon said, the push to ask for us to host this conference actually started 2 years ago. And we were just returning from, back then would have been the last session being held during the COVID, and knowing that the following year, the conference was returning to the in-house and in-person conference. Bahamas had the opportunity to host last year, and so we are on board this year. The World Meteorological Organization, which assesses global water resources, said the following in its State of Global Water Resources Report 2022. The hydrological cycle is spinning out of balance because of climate change and human activities. 2, droughts and extreme rainfall events are wreaking a heavy toll on lives and economies. In other countries, you have melting snow, ice, and glaciers have increased hazards like floods and threaten long-term water security for millions of people. There must be improved monitoring, data sharing, cross-border collaboration, and assessment of water resources, and an accompanying increase in investments to facilitate this. This is vital to help society cope with increasing water extremes of too much or too little. This assessment brings the theme of this conference, accelerating change in the water, wastewater, and solid waste sectors, and quite apt, and it brings into focus, sharp focus, making it both timely and appropriate. This conference is a unique platform to share our experiences, our knowledge, and technologies within our Caribbean neighbors and even the international partners. The challenge of managing our water resources is a defining concern that all of us share. And right at the outset, we must agree that if we are to find a successful, sustainable solution, we must work together. Water is life has become a bit cliched, and I worry that we are losing its rather serious implications. Everything that humans need to survive and thrive on Earth is directly related to water. Our food, safety, economy, infrastructure, health, habitat, climate, everything is connected to water, its availability, accessibility, and safety. And now it is under threat. The UN reports that almost half the world's population will grapple with severe water stress by 2030. We may have too much water that is polluted, or too little, so the already vulnerable will remain vulnerable. Consider that we are 7 years away from 2030, and the gravity of this challenge becomes stark. I would also like to take this opportunity to address some of the most pressing issues of our time: the climate crisis, water resource management, wastewater management, and solid waste management. These issues are intricately connected, and it is our responsibility as a nation to tackle them head-on. The climate crisis is no longer a distant threat. It is here, is impacting lives and ecosystems around the world. The signs are undeniable, from more frequent and severe natural disasters to the alarming rise in global temperatures. We must act with urgency to mitigate its effects and adapt the changes it has brought. With changing weather patterns, we face both droughts and floods. To ensure a sustainable future, we need a comprehensive approach to water resources management. This includes protecting our water sources, promoting efficient water use, and investing in infrastructure to store and distribute water effectively. Wastewater management is often overlooked, but it is a crucial aspect of our environmental responsibility. Inefficient wastewater treatment can harm both the environment and public health. We must invest in modern, eco-friendly wastewater treatment facilities to reduce pollution, safeguard the aquatic ecosystems, and recycle water where possible. According to the WHO, UNICEF Joint Monitoring Program, JMP for Water, Sanitation and Hygiene, called WASH, the progress report of 2020 to 2021, nationally, 86% of the population has access to at least basic sanitation. But the GMP report is further supported by the United Nations Development Programme Human Development Report 2019 that shows that 86% of the population is using basic sanitation or have access to improved sanitation services, which means improved facilities that are not shared with other households. Locally, the Georgetown sewage water system here is one of 4 sewage systems in the country and the largest system with over 9,000 connected households. The connected customer represents 22.8% of Georgetown's population and 3.6% of the national population. The rest of the population external to Georgetown utilizes decentralized sanitation solutions such as septic tanks and pit latrines. In recent years, GWI, Guyana Water, Inc., made significant advancement in sanitation and infrastructure across several villages and hinterland regions. Constructed, for example, septic tanks and established ventilated, improved pit latrines. Additionally, cutting-edge photovoltaic and water distribution systems were installed. Further, complementing these efforts, in partnership with UNICEF-funded WASH program, also conducted hygiene training in some of the hinterland regions. But another key intervention about wastewater management is the Global Environment Facility, Caribbean Regional Fund for Wastewater Management, which is commonly called the CREW Plus program. That builds on the progress made under the previous CREW project. This regional project has 4 components, of which Guyana will be benefiting directly from, particularly rehabilitation of sewage systems, which will benefit, for example, in Region 10, Kwakwani, and waste-to-energy conversion project, which aims to generate energy to offset a proportion of its energy costs. Currently, the estimated cost of constructing a wastewater treatment facility in Georgetown is approximately US $40 million, and technical proposals are being pursued. Solid waste management is another area where we need to improve. Our consumption-driven society produces immense quantities of waste, but much of this ends up at landfills or pollutes the ocean. We must reduce waste as its source, recycle, and promote sustainable practices to lessen the burden on our environment. To address the management of wastewater and solid waste more effectively, however, Guyana is also introducing environmental education, including solid waste separation and storage. Further, through inter-ministerial collaboration with the Ministry of Education, for example, a hand-washing program for maintaining good hygiene was implemented in primary schools to sensitize children on the 7 steps hand-washing technique. This was implemented in 10 primary schools, targeting 500 children. Additionally, waste receptacles were distributed to primary schools in 9 municipalities across the country, all aimed at targeting our SDG 6B. Importantly, to further improve sanitation management, Guyana has expended over $2.1 billion in financing to local government organs to support their delivery of services to communities. Technical assistance has also been provided in the areas of on-site wastewater treatment, waste management, hand washing, drainage maintenance, procurement, and organizing cleanup campaigns and community outreaches. The challenges we face are complex, but they are not insurmountable. We have the technology, the knowledge, and determination to address them. These challenges are interconnected, but they are also opportunities for positive change. By addressing them, we can build a more sustainable, resilient, and prosperous future for ourselves and generations to come. The government of Guyana is committed to ensuring that every citizen has access to safe drinking water and sanitation services. We understand that water is not just an essential resource, it is the foundation of healthy and prosperous communities, and we are fully committed to investing in the water and wastewater infrastructure for Guyana. We recognize the importance of this sector in supporting our growing economy and in preserving the environmental integrity of our nation. The knowledge, insights, and partnerships we gain from this conference will play a vital role in shaping our national policies and programs. This conference is an opportunity for us to engage with experts and professionals from various fields, including water resources management, engineering, environmental protection, and sustainable development. It is a chance to build networks, exchange ideas, and find new ways to address the challenges we faced in water and wastewater management. I therefore want to encourage all participants to actively engage in the discussions, share your experiences, and take full advantage of the opportunities that this conference provides. Let us work together to advance the cause of water and wastewater management in Guyana and throughout the Caribbean. By doing so, we can build a sustainable and prosperous future for our citizens and preserve the beauty of our natural surroundings. I invite all of you to join us in this crucial endeavor. It is just not the responsibility of governments, but of every individual, business, and community. Together, we can address the climate crisis, ensure water security, and manage our resources responsibly. Let us leave the legacy of a healthier planet for our children, grandchildren, and generations to come. I welcome you all to this conference and to our visiting delegates and observers. Please enjoy our beautiful country. Tomorrow evening, I understand you'll be having a teaser of some of our cultural programs and activities, but please stay on for the weekend and to enjoy the other scenery and beauty of our country as highlighted by the chairman of the board of GWI, because Georgetown is just not Guyana. Welcome. I thank you all.
We've been hearing about all that's happening in and across Guyana, no doubt, testament to our economy that's growing rapidly. We are the world's fastest growing economy, and so our prosperity means the prosperity of the region. And so we do have tremendous responsibility to build a strong, a sustainable, and a resilient Guyana. And a member of the team leading this is, of course, the Honorable Prime Minister of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, who we now invite for the feature address. Please stand, ladies and gentlemen, as we invite Brigadier Retired Mark Anthony Phillips for the feature address.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Please be seated. Minister of Housing and Water, Honorable Colin Crowell, Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Honorable Susan Rodrigues, colleague ministers of the Cabinet of Guyana, ministers of sister CARICOM countries, members of the Diplomatic Corps, President of the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association, Lieutenant Colonel Marlon Daniels, Vice President of CWWA, Ms. Candice Santana, Chairman of the Guyana Water Inc., Mr. Ramesh Duku, and members of the board of GWI, Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Sheikh Bash, and staff of GWI, ladies and gentlemen, special invited guests all, good evening. I join in welcoming the delegates and attendees to the 32nd Annual Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association Conference and Exhibition. I would like to extend my gratitude to all the experts, scientists, policymakers, funding partners, and industry leaders who've taken time out of their busy schedule to be a part of this conference. Guyana, as you may know by now, is known as the land of many waters, is honored to be hosting this important conference and exhibition. I especially would like to welcome our friends from overseas, those who are here and still to come, in making this special effort to join us for this event. I trust that all of you will have an enjoyable stay in Guyana and that your conference will be a resounding success. Also, I am pleased to see that the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association has been at the forefront of promoting innovative solutions and best practices in the water and wastewater management. Your dedication to research, advocacy, and knowledge sharing has had a positive impact beyond our region. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening I'm deputizing for His Excellency, Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, who's unable to be here because of exigencies of the state, but he had asked me to convey to you his best wishes and regards. I will focus my remarks this evening on the issue of waste management. The hosting of this conference is timely within the context of the current climate-related challenges being experienced in our region. It is worth mentioning that this event is being convened during one of the driest periods in recent history for Guyana. We are told that we are in an El Niño phase in the Caribbean. The temperatures over the past few months have been extremely hot in Guyana and elsewhere in the region. The prolonged dry weather has led to arid conditions that have prompted appeals here in Guyana for water conservation. But many parts of the Caribbean are also bracing themselves for semi-drought conditions should the extended dry season be prolonged. The Caribbean Drought and Precipitation Monitoring Network has expressed concerns about dry conditions and suggested that these arid conditions will persist until the end of November. That's November 2023. It also predicts that many territories in the region will likely experience lower than usual water levels in significant reservoirs, rivers, and groundwater sources, thereby intensifying the stress on water availability for both human consumption and agricultural needs. Local farmers, the backbone of our agriculture sector, have already begun to express concerns about the severe dry conditions that are parching grasslands and affecting access to water for their crops and livestock. The severe dry weather is concerning because if it persists, it can threaten our country's food supply and the livelihoods of our farmers. In the face of this challenge, your conference takes on a profound significance. It offers a timely platform to exchange ideas, innovations, and strategies for more sustainable water and wastewater management. I'm confident that during your discussions, you will deliberate on many ways to mitigate the effects of the present El Niño weather phenomenon. Guyana, of course, is part of an expansive region known as the Guyana Shield, which is one of the world's largest blocks of tropical rainforests. The Guyana Shield accounts for almost 20% of the world's freshwater supplies. The economic reality that we often overlook is that water, despite its seeming abundance, is a precious and costly commodity. Recognizing the true value of water is pivotal to understanding the importance of its conservation, not only for economic purposes, but also for the well-being of our communities, ecosystems, and the sustainable future of our planet. As I said earlier, this conference is timely indeed. 1 week ago, we observed World Food Day. The theme chosen for this year's observation was "Water is life, water is food. Leave no one behind." In commemoration of World Food Day, the Food and Agricultural Organization reminded us of how precious water is. It noted that despite more than 70% of the planet's surface is covered by water, a mere 2.5% is fresh and suitable for drinking, agriculture, and most industrial uses. The FAO also highlighted the alarming statistic that per capita freshwater resources have declined by 20% in recent decades because of poor use, poor water management, pollution, which contaminates water supplies, and climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, climate change presents a potent challenge to our region's water supply. It is an issue which I hope will engage you at and beyond this conference. The United Nations has warned that climate change significantly threatens our water supply. It is noted that over the past 2 decades, terrestrial water storage, encompassing soil moisture, snow, and ice, has been diminishing at a rate of 1 centimeter per year. And this has far-reaching consequences for water security. More than 20% of the world's basins have witnessed significant changes in their surface water characteristics in recent times. These changes encompass rapid expansions of surface water areas, often indicating flooding events, and the emergence of new reservoirs and inundated lands. Conversely, there have also been swift contractions in surface water areas. Significantly, this would have led to the drying up of lakes, reservoirs, wetlands, floodplains, and seasonal water bodies. And by 2050, the population exposed to the risk of flooding is projected to increase from its current count of 1.2 billion to 1.6 billion. And 3.3 billion persons are expected to be affected by severe water scarcity. These bleak statistics and dire warnings issued by the world's leading multilateral agency serve as an unambiguous call to action. They emphasize the pressing need for intensified efforts in improving water management across the Caribbean. I would like to suggest ways to improve water management across the Caribbean. First, I believe our governments must commit to investing in modern water infrastructure and technology. This includes updating and expanding water treatment facilities, pipelines, and distribution systems to minimize losses due to leaks and ensure reliable access to clean water. It also involves incorporating smart monitoring and management systems that can enhance efficiency and help in the early detection of water-related issues. In addition, sustainable practices like rainwater harvesting and wastewater recycling should be encouraged to reduce the strain on freshwater sources. Second, promoting public awareness and education is vital. Communities must understand the value of water and the impacts of wasteful practices. Public campaigns and educational programs can foster a culture of water conservation. Encouraging the adoption of water-saving technologies, such as low-flow fixtures and efficient irrigation systems, can significantly reduce water consumption. The dire United Nations statistics also underscore a more profound truth, that without addressing the overarching issue of climate change, we cannot expect meaningful progress. The symbiotic relationship between climate change and water management is undeniable. Climate change exacerbates the extreme weather patterns responsible for floods and droughts. Climate change threatens the livelihoods and safety of countless communities worldwide. It intensifies the depletion of water resources, endangering the water supply and the delicate balance of our ecosystems. These challenges can no longer be viewed in isolation. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I underscore that against this backdrop, the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association Conference is timely. It creates an opportunity for us to lead the way in recognizing and committing to the interlinked nature of these issues. By integrating climate change resilience into our water strategies and policies, we can safeguard our communities, ecosystems, and the future of our planet. Only through concerted and sustained efforts can we truly make a difference, ensuring a more secure and resilient future for all. I believe this conference can lay the foundation for creating a regional platform for the Caribbean nations to exchange information and best practices in tackling water challenges and enhancing water security and sustainability. Together, we can tackle the challenges that lie ahead and ensure a sustainable future for all. I'm confident that the knowledge shared, partnerships formed, and solutions discussed during this conference will pave the way for a brighter, cleaner, and more prosperous Caribbean. Ladies and gentlemen, with these remarks, I'm pleased to declare open the 32nd Annual Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association Conference and Exhibition. I thank you.
I am Angela Franklin. As Michelle has said, I am the current PRO for the CWWA. I've been tasked with the privilege of expressing our gratitude to everyone who has made this a possibility, and I will do so in observing the protocol. So I would like to start off by thanking you, Prime Minister, for taking time out of your day to be here with us and for the support that has been offered to us. Minister Crowell, Minister Rodriguez, to the ministers in Cabinet in Guyana, the permanent secretaries, I wish to thank you all for your support to the CWWA in making this conference possible here in Guyana. It has been a journey, and we could not have done it without your constant support. So we thank you for that, for going out there, for spreading the word, and for always attending to us when we've asked for it. We thank you for that. To all of the other visiting ministers, we wish to thank you again. The CWWA, particularly the HLF, would not be possible or would not have as much impact if it were not for our sitting ministers across the region, those ministers who noticed that the water and waste sectors are critical and we have to take a stand and we have to work together as one in order to achieve our mission. So we thank you for taking time to visit our beautiful country, as well as for meeting to discuss issues at hand and for putting together the way forward for the water and waste sectors. The ambassadors, dignitaries, and members of the diplomatic corps, as you can tell, I'm a little nervous, of the diplomatic corps, we wish to thank you as well for your constant support to the CWWA, particularly the CDB, the IDB, UNEP, GEF Crew Plus, and any others that I may have missed. We thank you because your support without your support, we would not be able to do the work that we have done over the years. 32 years is a long time on voluntary work. And we could not have done it without the support of government, without the support of our diplomatic corps and our partners across the region and across the world. We thank you so much for that. With that being said, I would also like to thank our president, Mr. Daniels. Thank you. To our board of directors, all the way from our VPs, Candice Santana, Stuart Hamilton, our treasurer, and every other director on our board, and our newly appointed executive director, Ms. Lorraine Lucky, to our secretariat stationed in Trinidad. Thank you for your support as well in making, and thank you for the vision that you have continued to pursue for the CWWA. It is indeed an interesting organization. It's come a long way. As our president has said, we have come through hurricanes, we have come through droughts, we have come through COVID, and we are still here. We've always had a conference every single year, regardless of what global crisis we are going through. And for that, I thank the board, past and future, present and future, for working tirelessly, even though it's completely voluntary. Thank you very much. I would like to thank the Board of Directors for the Guyana Water Incorporated, to the management, CEO, Mr. Jake Bash, to all the executive directors and management and staff of GWI who have helped to make this particular conference possible. A utility is usually the host of a conference when it moves from territory to territory. And the utility usually pulls a lot of that weight. While we may have support from ministers or ministries across the region or across the country, the utility really does pull a lot of that weight. And so the conference would just not be possible without it. So we thank you very much again, Mr. Duku. We thank you all for your support in making this possible. To the local organizing committee, this would not be possible. The local organizing committee is a composition of both utility staff and staff from the ministry that have been welcoming you at our airports, that have been putting together all of these events, that have been putting together our technical sessions, our exhibition hall, and these sorts of things. And we thank you again for your continued support and the work in making that possible. A conference, while we have all of the support, in making it happen would not be possible without our delegates, without our presenters who have taken time to share with us the work that they have done. As I don't recall who it was, it might have been Minister that mentioned, this is an opportunity for us to share challenges and work that has taken place across the region. And we couldn't do that. We couldn't showcase that. We couldn't have those discussions without the technical presentations. And so we thank you again for taking time to share your work with us and for being here with us to engage in discussions and to network so that we can not only find solutions within our individual countries, but as a region. To our exhibitors, thank you for being here, for supporting the CWWA. We know it's not always easy to get here, and especially when we have a lot of equipment and so to move around. So we thank you for making the extra effort and for being here with us as we celebrate, and to showcase as well all of the technologies and so that you are developing and working with and have available for us. Have I forgotten anyone? Our sponsors, including our partners, we thank you again. I cannot emphasize enough that this association is run on pure love. I always like to say that I've always felt that the CWWA is a family, and I cannot think of a better way to do that than a better way to celebrate that than through our conferences, so that we are working together towards a mission that is achievable. Yeah, I think if I've forgotten anyone, I sincerely apologize. I like to express gratitude daily in my life for the things that I have. So I think being able to do this was a privilege. And I thank you again, everyone, from the entertainment to Michelle. Thank you so much for doing this with us. I expect that we will have a brilliant culture night tomorrow, so please do come out and enjoy Guyana's culture and flavor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Angela. We know who will be moderating the next conference. Ladies and gentlemen, the curtain will come down now on the opening ceremony with a dance item from the National Dance Company, after which the dancers will escort the dignitaries seated in the front row and all others downstairs for the ribbon cutting. So, you know, Caribbean people love to dance, so let's dance with the National Dance Company, after which we will move to the ribbon cutting part of the evening's program.
Protect